I don't know how far you've gone into free agency, maybe guys that you like. There's one guy that I've been very vocal on, and I think when you look at him, he makes sense for the Detroit Pistons. He makes sense in terms of the type of players that I think they need, and that's Malik Monk.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a report earlier this week that Malik Monk could command $25 million per year. So my question to you, Jeff, are you willing to pay a guy like Malik Monk $25 million a year to come to Detroit?
Okay, so there's a lot of angles. I'll start with this. Before we even get into Malik Monk, you're going to have to overpay for anybody to come to Detroit. So I know from like, someone like me who's been an NBA fan my entire life, you look at some of these contracts and we always think in our mind, does he deserve this money? But it's not always the case. It's this player going to Detroit, going to this team. Should he get this money? And I think for at least what he brings, oh yeah. I think here's the thing you have to think. Okay, well, does Malik Monk bring spacing? Does he bring somebody who can come off your bench and give you look at what he did with the Kings? Like, yeah, there's value with that. 25 is a lot of money. Okay, I understand that. It's a shit ton of money. And I know a lot of people would say it's an overpay. There are probably players you can get to space the floor and not pay $25 million, to be completely fair. Even though if you're looking at starter level players, you're going to have to overpay for them regardless. But I want Malik Monk in Detroit. I think he'd be a great fit. 25, probably a little hefty. But like if he's one of your number one, number two, number three targets in free agency, and he's like, listen, I'll come to the Pistons, but you got to pay this amount. And maybe it's a shorter term deal, whatever it is. Then yeah, I mean, just pay him. I mean, you can't have $60 million in cap space and not do jack shit with it. Like there's that argument too. It's like you have cap space for a reason. You want to bring talent. You want to bring talent to the Pistons. You're going to have to overpay, unfortunately. So like we got to get that out of our head as well. So I'm comfortable with it. I'm not in love with 25 per year to Malik Monk, Anthony. But at the end of the day, it's like if you want good basketball players, you're going to have to pay. So that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think if you don't want to go with Monk, I think there are other shooting guards like Buddy Hield, who's a little bit older, but he's shown that he's a very consistent three-point shooter. Obviously, if you did watch the 76ers in the playoffs, he didn't really have the best performance, but I still think that Buddy Hield would be a really good fit in Detroit. You also have guys that are a little bit younger. Gary Trent Jr., who I've been incredibly high on. Seems like every time the Raptors came to town, he would torch the Pistons for whatever reason. I don't know. It's like a revenge game. I think those are other shooting guards that you could target. I'm not even going to mention Klay Thompson. I would not overpay for a Klay Thompson if I'm the Pistons. Let Orlando do that. Let Philly do that. Just kind of pass on the Klay Thompson experience. Or maybe you go wild and you say, hey, Dwayne Casey's in the front office. Come to Detroit. Who knows? But I do think they are going to upgrade that shooting guard position. I think there are some options out there that the Pistons could go down. I just kind of think Malik Monk checks a lot of boxes. So if you were to give him, I don't know, 2 for, 50, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But yeah. Who knows if he wants to stay? He might want like a 4 for 100. I personally don't think he's going to stay in Sacramento, even though there is a connection there with him and De'Aaron Fox. I think it's a chance for him to get the bag. Maybe he goes back to the team that drafted him in Charlotte. You never really know.
And I'm with you, by the way. I want to respond to your Gary Trent Jr. You brought him up. I think he's also a really good fit. I think, and I don't know what Gary Trent Jr. would command. And if he's commanding a little less than Malik Monk, I would rather have Gary Trent Jr. I think the shooting is there. Takes a lot of threes. He can make them. He's a formidable defender. Like I think he fits. That you see a common theme with the players we're bringing up here. Like two guards that can space the floor. Obviously, the taller they are, the more intrigued I am because of the versatility there. But like if it's Malik Monk, Buddy Hield, I'd be okay with, but I'm comfortable with it. But defensively, there's probably some problems there. But shooting is the number one priority to me. And if you're getting it in Buddy Hield, Malik Monk, or Gary Trent Jr., Anthony, I'm on board. I'm comfortable with it. I'm curious what a price point for Gary Trent Jr. would be. That would probably be my question.
I could see like 15 to like 20 personally.
See, I would rather pay 15 to 20 for him, if I'm being honest, than Malik Monk, 25.
Yeah, like I think when you look at Gary Trent, I know some people are like, well, he's inconsistent. Like you kind of compare him and Buddy Hield, their stats are damn near identical, and Gary Trent is a lot younger than Buddy Hield, so I would bank on his potential of getting better. But I did want to talk about Monk for a little bit because I know a lot of Pistons fans have been really vocal on him as a fit and just kind of that 6-man role that he did take with the Kings. I mean, I'm not going to go as far as Brandon Jennings saying that he's better than Donovan Mitchell, but I like him. I like him. Brandon Jennings, man. I love Brandon Jennings, but man, he says some crazy shit sometimes.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that was wild, by the way. I love Brandon Jennings as a personality, but that was blasphemy, to quote Stephen A. Smith. A blasphemy right there. Absolutely.
Honestly, man.